All right. How's it going, everyone? Here we are at the end of July for another development update video. Another month has gone by. This month was a little bit weird for me just because I moved in the middle of it, but we still got some awesome stuff into the build, and I'm excited to show some of it off. So I'm just going to start rattling down our list, and then we'll talk about what's coming next. So we've got some small stuff first. We have some new just appearance sort of changes throughout the application. So we have new ribbons on folders to help us distinguish between folders and files just a little bit more visually. That kind of overlay thumbnails here, we can see that. If we go into our settings, we actually have controls now to toggle different pieces of data inside of the library detail panels if we want to toggle some things off, or inside the detail panel sections or the sidebar. Next up, I won't demonstrate this because I'd have to force a crash, but there's also crash reporting now. So for those of you who are unfortunate and unlucky enough to fall to the whims of my programming, next time your application starts after a crash or after it freezes up on you and you have to force close it, it will prompt you that you can submit a crash report to me, and these have been so extraordinarily helpful already. Thank you for everyone who takes the time. I look at literally every single one of them. So please, if you crash, send me reports. It is huge for getting us stable and making improvements, and I really appreciate that. All right, next up, this one's pretty cool. We honor closed library changes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to stop my application. This is our current library, and what I'm going to do is we're just going to delete ArchVillain. ArchVillain? However it's pronounced. And then let me launch the application back up. Awesome. And it flashes so fast that we didn't even, maybe it got caught. But it's going to detect the ArchVillain is no longer there. It's going to reconcile, and it's going to remove it from our application. All right, and we can see the ArchVillain has been removed. So that works the same for moving stuff or just adding new stuff. If you do it while the app is closed and you close the app, it will do a scan to try and reconcile when it's opened. So I hope that's convenient. It's been convenient for me. I hope it's convenient for others too. All right, let's see what's next on my list. We have some new file type support. So if we go to types here, we have a bunch of new file filters. So that's great. But we have also added a Lightroom for viewing different images, as well as being able to page through PDFs. I'm not sure if I actually have any PDFs right now, but if you start clicking on thumbnails, you get nice big beautiful displays of them now. I don't think I have any PDFs in this library to page through, but if there was a PDF, you would be able to page through it in those pop-ups now. We also have added 3D preview and generation support for object files. That's another new file support. I'm hoping to add even more 3D objects in general support for displaying and creating our 3D previews and stuff. So as time goes on, we'll just keep adding those. So this next feature definitely made it more for just me, but I hope other people get some benefit out of it. Here's where it started. I was getting annoyed because I was making build plates, and whilst I was making build plates, I would go to add files onto build plates, as you do, but what would happen, I wouldn't know when this build plate was full unless I go into the build plate itself and see how much is on the build plate. And I was like, well, that's not helpful. I want to know from here when my build plate is full. So now, if I try and add something to a build plate and it won't fit, and the app thinks it won't fit at least, it throws up an error message saying, hey, you are out of space for printing. Now, of course, we can override that and add it anyway, but now I can say like, okay, now I need a new plate. Let's create a new plate. And that little thing has saved me so much time and effort already that that's probably my second favorite thing. That's, well, third favorite. We'll talk about the next two. So that's a nice little quality of life thing for others too, I hope. Let's see. So next we have a new updates to the support area. So I cut out, we had a build plate, or not build plate. We had a bug tracking sort of screen. We just don't use it. So I removed it. All the bugs just kind of get handled back and forth in email right now, and I was just always too lazy to go update that data to display it in the app, so it's just going to get removed. Maybe it'll come back one day if there's a different workflow or we just get too busy and we need more ways to track stuff, but right now it's okay just going back and forth through email and chats and stuff. You can still, of course, submit bugs right through the support page, and you can attach files and things now as well. That's new. We also have a new submit feedback button, so that opens, I guess I can show here. This just opens a dialogue that can collect positive or negative feedback from you guys. I'd really appreciate that. I'm kind of hoping to collect some testimonials, so to speak, that I can display on the website. If you guys are willing to take a moment and have the time to just fill this out if you've had a positive experience or a negative one, like I want to hear about them both. So please, if you don't mind, take the time and send me some feedback. I really appreciate it. This one was a lot of effort and it took some help, but we now have a help center. So the help center where I'm adding and working on tons of articles throughout the application on how different things work and how buttons work and where are the right click menus and all that stuff that's just not obvious in the one getting started tutorial video that I have. We're now on to the, I guess we call it the magnum opus of this release, automation rules. So we've now added, if you go to settings and import, there's a new section here for automation rules. And what these allow you to do is when you import stuff, or if you just want to go apply a rule to an existing folder, you can do that too. It gives you a system of rules and actions to take to rename your files and folders to normalize all of the names of all of our print files. Because there are so many different creators that have so many different naming conventions and so many different tokens inside of file names. And I just want them to be the same for all of my organization. So it's gonna this has shipped with 3 different kind of preview rules built in. Now all of my 3D printing is around miniatures. So all my testing and these rules are built with like the guys who are making me miniature files in mind, just because those are the files I have to test with. But you can duplicate these. You can import and export them as JSON, which means if you want to, you can go give them to an LLM, help you make the rules you want. They are, I'm going to say, like a little bit involved. I might make a dedicated video just showing how to make these maybe a little bit more in depth. There is an article on it already. I made sure there's going to be an article on it. But I mean, they're kind of formatted as sentence structures. So when these things are true or occur, then do these things with that data kind of deal. And you can make as many steps as you want, and it's just crazy. I'm already in love with this feature. Let me go see if we can just pick a file and run dooloot. So I can go right click and we click run automation rule. I can click on standardized layout and we can see the old file names and what they're about to become on the right. And this also exists for, you can preview right from the rule set. You can preview right from the file import, which I guess I'll show as well. But let me just go find a test file here. There we go. So now there's new automation rules. We can select the rule you want to apply. You can review them right from here if you want to. Then import and it will apply the rule. And that preview is anywhere while you're building rules. You can just pick a folder you want to see what happens when you run the rule against it, and it will preview. All right, let me take a look at our list. I think that's the last current thing I want to talk about. That's probably not everything, but there's also been a lot of crash improvements inside of this release. We've been fighting some pretty uncommon ones just based on the number of reports I get, but still annoying nonetheless. I think we're in a good place now, but we'll see. We'll see what the reports say as they continue to trickle in, or hopefully not trickle in. So what is next? So immediately my next concern is the build plate workflow. I've been doing so much of my own printing now. I've seen like the pain and places where I think we can improve that inside the software. I think the library is getting to a pretty good place where I want to go spend some time on build plates and just give it some more love. Just as a top level idea, I think what we're going to do is, like, there's this arrange build plate screen. I think this entire thing is going to go away. And we're just going to embed a 3D preview of your build plates right here on this main build plate screen. We'll have of course, we already have the quantities. We'll throw the, auto arrange button somewhere and generate file button somewhere. And I think we're just going to refactor this screen and utilize space a little bit better. So that's big on my list. I also had this problem of partial print failures and being able to track them. So let's say I do a build plate and only 50% of them fail. For whatever reason, it happens. I want to be able to come in here and be like, no, this one failed, these two succeeded, but now create a new build plate and, you know, take my failures and put them on it right from here. So I'm thinking of features like that. There's some filter features I want to do for, there's some filter features I want to do where when we have printed items, I think I want a new section down here where maybe it's a kind of just a collection of what has been printed under this folder or all the files underneath it, just so I can quickly see what's been printed inside of here. And as you drill down into folders, it will adjust for, you know, the children of these folders and so on and so forth. And I think the last thing is I want some search filters so I can search by printed and not printed. The data is here because if we go down to a file level, there is print counts that can be adjusted, but they also get automatically set if you trigger the print from the software. Or you start a print, I should say you change the status of the build plate that it's on to printed. These print counts get adjusted. So the data is there to do it, we just don't have the filters. So I think we're going to spend a bunch of time on build plates this month. I don't know that we'll make it in August, but I have a mind for a project workflow. What I mean by that is, let's say I've got a very big, I mean, it doesn't even have to be that big, a model that's going to take me 3 build plates to print all the pieces of, which is very common, I'm sure. And I want a view inside of 3D Print Manager that will capture the project, right? So I have the, you know, XYZ model project. Here are the build plates associated with it. Here is the status of the project. These files are being primed. These files have been painted. You know, I just want I want a workflow that encompasses a whole project, not just through the print, but also post the print a little bit. That is one of our roadmap items. I think it's tied as well with one of the, I think it's tied with customizable, or not customizable, community print templates. So I think that's one of the roadmap items. Hope I get, as soon as the build plate refactor is done, that's what we're going to jump into next. And and the last thing, we are going to refactor the roadmap screen. I've come to hate it. This is dev data, so none of these votes are real, but we are going to refactor the screen. It's going to be like, there are things on here that are getting marked complete and it's hard to see. And then like, if I delete them, well, then no one's going to see that we're actually completing our roadmap items. So we're going to switch this to just be a little bit more intuitive. It was functional for its purposes for the, you know, the first 6 months of this software's life, but now we're just gonna, it needs an update. It needs an update. So we're gonna do that. Well, I think that wraps us up for the July monthly development video. I'm excited for August. I'm excited for more. Thank you, everyone. I continue to get great feedback from you guys. So many kind messages from you guys. Thank you to everyone who supports the software, who checks out the software. If you have feedback, please send it. Whether you just email me, whether you submit feedback here, send it my way for sure. I love hearing from you guys. But thank you, everyone, and have a great August, and I'll catch you all at the end. See you later.